Hey everyone, this is the all mixed up video tutorial. It's our newest, very busy and complex template, to some of you anyway. I'm sure we'll think so. More advanced people should be pretty easy, so I'm going to try to go real slow on this one. There's a lot of layers to this, so we're gonna try to go through it. If I miss anything, please feel free to contact me and I'll kind of help you out as much as I can. So we're just we're going to be bouncing back and forth a lot between all these. I have a lot of folders where everything's grouped together. So just follow along, and if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, so we're going to start at the very top, and just I'll walk you through what's going on in each one of these, and then we'll start to kind of put together a new design. So this first layer folder is called Design Accent. That's these right here. You'll see these little X's on the two corners. We have those. We have these little arrows. You can get in here, double click the color overlay on each one, kind of change it around to whatever you want. I'm just going to cancel that for now. And we have these little dot patterns here. So I'm just going to turn, let's turn these little V's on. So what I call them, or arrows, whatever. All right, the name that's down here. Yep. Let's kind of zoom in. This does involve some smart layers. The last name does not. It's just very simple. You'll get your text tool in here. I'm going to go ahead and change it. Whoops. I accidentally clicked save instead of. Let's let that finish. Sorry, I apologize for that. Alright, so just kind of click in here. Control A, not Control S. That'll select it all. Let's just do Smith. We're just going to make a fake name here. We'll move things around here in a minute once we move a little further. I'm just kind of showing you what we're doing here. If you want to change the color of this, let's kind of get back in there. I'm doing Command or Control A to select all that. We'll come in here. Let's just change it to black for now. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to start editing yet, and I am. So I'll shut up and I'll just kind of move along. So the next one is going to be a smart layer. And as it says here, just double click this layer to edit it. And what that's going to do is change this name. That's going to repeat the text up here. If you do not want these other text up here, you can turn them off with this folder here. This says do not edit the text. I would not do that if I were you. Just edit the stroke or the color overlay if you want to use that, so you can see what kind of each are doing, or you can turn them both on. Again, we'll get in there and play with some of that here in a minute. The class and the year, that's just this down here. All I have visible is just the stroke, and then as you see here, the fill is at 0. You can always bring that back up if you want, put a color in there. Your choice. Alright, let's move on. This has 3 subjects, as you can see. You can use 1, 2, or 3. This is the foreground subject. This is a very simple thing. You just kind of drop them in there. Brush the shadows in. I will walk you through how I do that. Center text, that's this main text here in the middle. These do not involve any smart layers. Alright, so we have just the school name or the organization name, whatever you're working with. A little bar behind it if you want to use that. You can change the color on that as well. the sport name. Then there's another color bar if you wanted to put it back behind there. I have it turned off now. And then the team name. All right, then we have the number down here. That again is going to be a smart layer. So you'll double click that and it will edit that, and then it'll repeat it here. So again, you can change the main color of this, or you come down here and change the stroke color of the one behind it, just that little outline color. Now let's close these back up. I'll come back up here and close this up, sorry. Alright, then if you want to do a single layer, or sorry, a single subject, right here, it's just these two layers, all you're going to do is turn that main one off, turn this one on. And as you see, it just brings his legs further down. Then you'll come up and turn this foreground subject off. So you can have it just a bigger version of him here. You can still have this like close-up headshot type thing over here. Or we'll show you later, you can actually go into that folder and turn him off, put something else in there if you want, doesn't matter. Or just use that solid background color. Alright, so I'm going to switch this back around. I'm going to put this one back on. And, sorry, turn that one on, that one off. Alright, then we have the logo here. Again, it's very simple. You just drag a logo into there. And then I have a background color so you can match it with the logo if you want. Or if you want to drag yet another graphic in there, just drag it into this folder. And that'll work. Alright, let's move down here to the main subject. That's just what's behind him, this rectangle. A lot of stuff's happening here. So right now I have a color grade, a contrast, and a desaturation layer going into this. So here I want to grab my move tool. I'm going to turn auto select on. I'm going to click him. I'm just going to hide him so you can see what's going on in here. So again, this is just kind of a color cast. Saturation, or sorry, contrast is just kind of just making it a little darker. You can go in here if you want and play with it, make it even more. Just do it, whatever you want to do. Alright, let's see, I'm going to turn that off just so you can see. This is just a slight desaturation. If you want it to be completely black and white, just crank the opacity up. I keep it at 75. And we'll get into more of the nit and gritty stuff with that here shortly. Sorry. Alright, down here, you'll see you can do just a solid color back here, or a gradient, however you'd want to do it. We'll get in there and play with that here shortly. Or we have all the different backgrounds. There's clouds, swimming pool for swimmers, the list goes on. We are going to be working with a baseball player, so I'm going to turn baseball on, turn this football field off. And it looks weird now, but we'll get in there and play with it shortly. Let's see. Did not mean to leave that in there. It's okay. It's kind of the same thing this is doing. I'll delete it, so just ignore that. Alright. Excuse me. Now we're going here. Let me go back up, way up here, and turn this guy back on. I'll start closing things down again. I try to keep all these folders closed if I'm not working in them. Alright, so now we got subject 2. That's this little close-up over here. Same thing, it's got the color grade, the black and white or desaturation, and the contrast here as well. Have all of it turned off now. You can do that background color, and I have it peeking through a little just because the subject here, I have it opacity 75. I just wanted him to be a little more faded looking, and at default my subject is at that. When you drop yours in there, it will not default to that. So if you want it to look like that, just drop that opacity down. Alright, and then what we have next are just this little layout of the fields in the background. Open that folder. You can see we have basketball, baseball, softball, football, whatever you want. Again, I'm going to turn the baseball on because that's what we're about to work with. And then we have this paper texture. You can turn that on and off if you want. And then finally, just this background color. You can kind of play around with that. I feel like the lighter colors work best. So you won't see many of my samples with a darker color. But that's just with the teams that I have. If your color schemes work better with a darker look, I'd love to see what you do. I just haven't been able to do anything with a darker look that I enjoy. Alright, so let's move back to the top and just start. I'm going to get my move tool. I have auto select on. First thing I'm going to do is just drop my new subjects in. And this is for tutorial purposes. I don't really have anything. I'm not doing this for a client, so I'm not trying to be perfect with it. These probably aren't even the best shots, but we're going to try to make it work here. Alright. I'll make him a little bigger. Keep him right there. I'm going to go in and turn the sample off. Alright, let's see, I got my move tool still with auto select. I'm going to select this foreground one. You see over here it automatically selects it. I'm going to grab, let's just do this one. That was right beside it. If I was being picky, I'd probably grab a different shot here because this looks very similar to that, but whatever. I'm going to keep him there. I'm going to get rid of that. Right now, I'm going to come up under this layer that I just put there. I'm going to click this little square with the plus in it, do a new layer. And I'll hit B for brush, and I already have my shadow brushes selected. I've created a couple. If you don't have one, it's okay. Just grab a big soft brush like this. As you see, it's just, just big round soft brush. And what I recommend to do is open up this little brush panel here, and you see this up here. Just grab one of these dots, squeeze it in so it's kind of narrow. That's all my brushes are. And then I'm going to do a few layers. He has tennis shoes on, I just noticed too, so it's not the best cutouts here, but again, tutorial purposes. Should have grabbed a shot with cleats or something, or an athlete, doesn't matter. I'm going to, here, Control Z, I'm going to come right here with a real small brush. I'm just going to go the outline of his foot. This is how I do my shadows. Same thing here. Slightly. There we go. Nothing big. Now I'm going to click this little square with the plus again. I'm going to start another layer. I'm going to make it a little bigger. And this time, I'm going to open this brush panel up. I like to angle this brush to the foot. Not quite there. There we go. And again, just this edge that you see, just kind of give him a shadow there. I'm going to do it again with this one. This one's almost pointed down. It didn't really work there. And that's what you'll have to do, is just get in here and play. What I'm going to do, I'm going to delete both of those. So forget everything I just said. I'm going to grab a round brush again. I'm going to squeeze it in not so thin. And now what I'm going to do is just kind of do a bigger one like that on each foot. Now I'm going to grab my opacity and I'm going to put that at 50%. Again, it just gives it a little more of a subtle shadow there. Now what I like to do is like a full body. So I want to grab another layer, and I want to make this a lot bigger. I'm going to come in here, I want to make it a little more narrow again, and just pop it right there. I'm going to drop this down to 24%. That's my shadow. Some people do it different. That's how I do it. And again, I'd probably make it a little better if I had more time, if I was doing this for a client. Alright, I'm just going to grab all those layers. I'm going to grab the subject and the 3 shadow layers. I'm going to click the subject, hold shift, click that last one, Command or Control E, just to group it all. Alright, so there's my foreground. Now I want to come over here. I got my move tool again. I'm going to click this. Usually it'll select that color grade right there. So yeah, just come down here to subject 2. Open that up. And I'm going to select the sample subject. I'm going to come in and grab this one. Now here's how I do these. I'm going to Command or Control T. Sorry, it was already in transform mode. I'll bring him right here where I want him. I can tell that's where he's at. So what I'm going to do now is grab my marquee tool, the square, rectangular marquee, and I'm just going to drag it over his head, do a big rectangle over his head. I'm going to right click, layer via copy. It just makes a copy. I'm going to delete that original one. Now I'm going to work with the copy I just made. Because it is such a close-up, it just gives me a little more room to work with. And I'm just going to really crank that up real big. The text is kind of hiding its mouth. I don't really care about that because when I change the team name, it's going to be shorter anyway. Even if it didn't, it doesn't really bother me. If it does, if it bothers you, just move it around or change the size. However you'd want to do it. You could kind of bring him up in here, whatever. Alright, so what I'm going to do now with this, I think I am going to kind of desaturate a little. Right. So I'm using this black and white 2 above subject 2. I want to double click that. I recommend playing with these sliders or just hit that auto button. It automatically is going to make that black and white look a little better. Might still play with him with darken the red in his face a little bit, brighten the yellows just slightly there. The blues I'll pop up to in his hat. Alright, I'm going to leave that alone. Now I'm going to do a slight color grade. With the team's blues. Alright, now I'm going to bring that saturation down. The lightness up a little. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is the opacity. I'm just going to bring that down just about 50%. Cool. And that's where we'll keep that. Alright, next thing I like to do is the logo. So I'm going to tap that. Sorry, I'm going to turn my auto select back on. Now I'm going to tap that. As you see over here, it just automatically opens up the logos. Let me grab their logos. Sorry, I didn't have that ready. And it is right here. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to size it just to, I like the edges to be covered up just slightly. I'm going to give it a little twist. A little bit of an angle. I'll keep it right there. I'm going to turn off that old one, and for the color fill, this team is mostly blue and black with a little white and sometimes gray. So I like, for this team, I'm going to put a little bit of a gray right there. Cool. Alright, let's see. I'm going to close that logo. I'm going to start cleaning things up now. So I'm going to close the foreground subject. Alright, we're good. So now let's work on the background here. So I have baseball. Here's what we can do here. Same thing we did over here. We can get in here and play with some color grades. Now that I have this logo here, I can actually steal color from that. I can do I can play with the contrast some. I might keep it where it was. I might brighten it a little. Oh, the sky is going too bright. It's okay. Cut that back off. Let's do. I'll keep it desaturated. Or for this team and their colors, what I really like to do, honestly, I wanted to play with these just to show you what they do. I want to turn all these off, the color grade, contrast, and desaturate. And I'm going to come under the main subject background. Sorry, was I turning the wrong ones off? No, sorry. Let me open that up. I try to keep it all color coordinated so you know what effects go to what little section here. All right, I'm going to turn on the solid color gradient layer. I'm going to double click the gradient overlay effect. I'm going to tap that gradient. And for this darker color, I want to tap the little square there. I want to tap the color swatch, and I'm just going to do black. Then for the lighter, I'm going to tap that color again. I'm going to steal this blue from the logo, and now you see it just goes from a gray to black. So I'm going to do that. Say okay. I'm just going to keep it at that for now. Now let's go I told you we're going to be jumping around. I'm going to tap this little corner accent, these V's as I call them, and I'm going to change the color of those two. I'm going to double click this color overlay, and again I'm going to tap this color swatch here, and I'm going to steal this gray, I think. Yep, I'll keep it at that. There we go. Now we're pretty much done with the photos other than the text. So let's start playing with the text. I'm going to come to the name. I already jumped ahead of myself earlier and changed the last name. Let's just change the first name. So with the smart layers, just double click this layer right here. And it's going to open up its own document. Grab the text tool, come in here, Command or Control A to select it all, and let's just type a name. I don't know. Let's do Ethan. Why not, right? Click OK. Command or Control S to save that. When you save that, it's going to bring it back up over here. Now it kind of repeated all that where we wanted it to. Perfect. Now that little bar in the background, as you can see, it's too big now, so we're going to click that over here, name color bar, and we're going to Command or Control T, and we're going to zoom in. We're just going to hold Shift. I want to grab this dot here and just drag it in and size it to where you feel like it looks well. Alright, now let's change the color of it. I'm going to double click that color overlay, and again I'm going to steal this blue, I think, from the logo. Not many colors to work with this team, but that's okay. Alright, now as you see, the last name's kind of covering that up. That's fine. Click the last name, grab this move arrow or icon. I'm actually going to use my arrow keys. I'm going to hold Shift so it'll move faster. I want to move it over and down some. I like for a little overlap there. That doesn't bother me. With these color, I have that glow around the last name just for when it's like black on black maybe. It's not, I don't think I'm going to need that here, so I'm going to turn that off. See how it kind of blends in with that blue, so maybe I will turn it back on. Just a slight glow. Alright, now the class and the year, we'll this down here. We're going to scroll down, grab that, and move that down and over. And that's really it with that. Nope, I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to change it, I don't think, but I'll show you how if you want to. So these repeating text right here, as you see, it's just the outline. You can turn that off. You can just do a solid color if you want. I will probably grab, let's just grab this gray. I want to click that color swatch, grab that gray. As you see, that is now gray. I like it just looking like an outline, so I'll just keep that stroke turned on. Same thing, double click that, change the little, click the little color swatch, and you can make that the gray as well. Probably want to go with a little lighter gray. I'll just do a real light gray. And there you have it. Same thing with the name itself. If you wanted to, let's see right here, you see the color overlay. Come in here, double click it, change the name of or color of the name if you want. Cancel. That's really it with that. Alright, let's go here. Let's close this folder. Next we have center text. Alright, so I'm going to grab my text tool. I'm going to click here where it says East Lincoln. The school we're working with now is North Lincoln. Type that out. So what we can do now is one of two things. You can condense the spacing of this by clicking in there, Command or Control A again. Select it all. You can grab your character, click this little character icon. If you don't see it, just go up to Windows, click character, and this VA with the arrows going in and out, you can kind of move the text around with that if you want, or you can keep it where it was. Here, I'm just going to do Command Z, keep it where it was. I think that is where it was. And you can just change the size of that bar again. So I just click that color bar for the school and org, Command or Control T. I'm going to grab this in. I'm going to hold Shift, grab it, and then drag that out just slightly. Let me zoom in. There we go. Now we're going to change the color of that. I'm going to double click this color overlay. Tap that color swatch. We'll do, let's do this gray again. Right there. Nice. Alright, our text tool's still selected, so we're going to click in the team name now. Command or Control A. Nice. See what I'm saying? I knew this team name would be shorter and it wouldn't cover his face. I like to keep this edge lined up, so what I'm going to do now is move over to this is me being nitpicky. I'm going to just move that over just slightly. And there we go. If you want to change the color of this, just do it up here in the text color. This is a pretty simple layer, so I didn't add any crazy layer effects, but you can come in here and just go nuts if you want. I'm going to keep it white. Actually, let's bring it down just a slight gray. Right there. Nice. And this is obviously a baseball team, so we're going to, with our text tool, just double click on the text, or you can click one time, Command or Control A, baseball. And same with this repeating text here. This is just kind of an outline. There is a bar for that as well if you want to turn that on. You can turn that on and change the color or whatever you want to do. Or come in here, turn the stroke off, and you can increase the fill. So it is different than these down here. I apologize. And then you can turn the stroke off, and then it's just, you know, basic text like it was. Like the team name is. So you can come in here and do this, whatever you want to do. I'm going to lower that fill again all the way, or if you want to, you can just do like almost like a transparent, which looks pretty cool too. I actually have that in the team shots. It kind of looks like that. And then turn that stroke back on. But I'm going to turn that fill down. Just keep it how I had it. And that's it for the center text. I'm going to close that down. Now we're going to move over to the number. I can't tell what number he is. I think it's 12. We're going to, for tutorial purpose, we're going to go with 12. Alright. So let's open up this numbers folder. This is a smart object as well, or smart layer, sorry. I'm going to double click that. Double click in here. 12. You can change the color in here if you want, doesn't matter. Command or Control S to save that. I'm going to close it. And now we have 12. And as you see, it's repeating back here. Now we have a color overlay, which is why it didn't matter if you changed it in a smart document or not. So we're just going to come in here. Let's grab, and we'll grab the blue again. Why not? Say OK. And then down below it, the number outline, all you see is the stroke. Same as before though, the fill's at 0. If you want that to fill in, feel free to crank that back up. And that is where you'll want to change it here actually. So you can come back in here and change it. Let's say to a gray. Command or Control S to save that again. And now you see that's going to turn gray back there as well. So sorry about that mix up. But again, I'm going to crank that fill back down. Sorry, I did it to the wrong one. This one, let's crank it back down to 0. And I'm just going to work with that stroke line. We're going to change that. We'll make that this gray. Perfect. And guys, I think that's really about it for this one. Oh, let's go back to the name. Here's what I like to do with this. I'm going to tap name, I'm going to turn off my auto select. I'm going to hold shift. As long as I'm moving the entire folder, everything should move over. I'm just going to move it over a little bit. I like it kind of being close to this edge. If you want to move the numbers around, same thing. Click number. Make sure you don't have auto select on. Hold shift and you can just kind of move it around. Move it down here more if you want, whatever you wanted to do. I like a little overlapping, so I just kind of keep it like that. Background. Let's play with that some. Again, you can turn the paper texture off if you want. Give it a much cleaner look. I feel like the paper texture just gives it a little more character. Background color, we'd come in, make it a little gray if you wanted. You start to see this glow around the last name a little more. So what I would do, if you were gonna keep it, say this color, this gray, I'll do Command or Control C, and that's gonna copy this color. I'm going to turn my auto select back on. I'm going to click that last name. As you see over here, it automatically picked it. Double click outer glow. Double click that color. Command or Control V. And it just matched it up while it's still creating some separation here against the dark blue. That's really it. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about this color overlay on the subject now. I do like it being black and white, I think. Or not. Let's just... I think I like it just the natural color, but I'm going to do what I was saying earlier, and I'm just going to... Whoops, sorry, let me turn that background one off. I'm going to lower the opacity of it. And then I want to change this background color that blue. That color grade looks a little better doing it that way to me for now. I might change my mind. But that's the thing about this template, guys. You just get in here and play with it. It's sitting like a where you just drop stuff in and it's magically just works for you. I create these for you to be able to get in here and play around and experiment and just and see what works best for you. But I like this for now. I say that, but now I want to come in and make that background a little lighter again. I feel like it's a little too dark. And that's what I was saying. I don't know. I'm just not crazy about the darker backgrounds with this design. But somebody with fresh eyes on this could probably come in and do something great. Alright, so that's it with this one. I was just going to show you real quick the team, or the memory mate and the team shots. They work essentially the exact same way. I'm not going to drop new stuff in here because you saw me do that already. But with the team here, I'll show you what I did there. Obviously, it's already cut out. Here, let's see. Sorry. But it's already, they've all been cut out already and put in there. I just put that gradient backdrop, kind of like we had here. I just used that here. Whoops. Here. For this little area here, what I like to do, let me close things down, sorry. That's the subject 2 again. Instead of putting obviously the subject there, I just kind of made a copy of this team shot and just blew it up real big there so it doesn't, just cutting people off and stuff. It's fine with me. I think it just looked cool that way. Same thing, I lowered the opacity of it and let that background color peek through a little. But feel free, what I like to do on some of the other ones I've done is I'll come up to this main subject background where the fields are, like the clouds and the football field. Sometimes you can copy these. So I'll Command or Control C the clouds just for an example. Come back down to the subject 2, turn off those subjects, and paste. Just put those clouds back in there. And it's just, Command or Control T. You can size them up. Just get weird with it. You know what I mean? If you want that to be more of your team colors, again, I would desaturate it with the black and white. Let's get in here and click auto. That's just going to make it look right again. And then do a color grade on it. For this, it's their orange. It looks good, but if it was for the team I just did, I'd kind of come in here and make it a blue, desaturate it a little, lighten it up a little bit. And that's really it. I mean, again, please just use your creativity. Get in there and play around with it. Use your own photos with these backgrounds too. I gave you some just as working points, like some of these. But I fully encourage you to go out to the baseball fields, the basketball fields, whatever. Take some pictures. Come in here and drop your own in there. Make it more customizable to your teams. Or just go on stock sites, find your own backgrounds if you want. That's all I did with these. Just use AI for some of the backgrounds. Some of them are stock photos. But yeah, just go in, get weird, create your own stuff. The subject here, same thing as the main shot. It's just in there, but you have another background. I decided to use the football background for this one. Use the gradient background for this. And again, over here you can just kind of use a different, maybe the clouds, or just throw the team in there like that. Same thing, this is the exact same thing as the memory mate, just without the subject, obviously. Come in and change the accents, the field diagrams, whatever you want to do. I did turn off the repeating text on the name on the memory mate just because it was kind of coming up into here. But it is here in the template. Let me just make sure. Yeah, It's there. So it's right there, so you can still come in and turn those on, change them if you want. But I personally didn't want to cover anybody up too much, so I just turned it off. I like how the heads are over, sticking out over it. Again, this design's made obviously with all this overlapping and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I wanted to do by design. But yeah, that's really it. If you have any questions with it, please don't hesitate to hit me up through Messenger, text, email. Some of you have my phone number. Call me, text me, whichever, and I'll help you out as much as I can. Thank you.